My name's Edward Wallace, and I run a lab in the School of Biological Sciences, which is funded by the Royal Society and the Wellcome Trust. And what we're interested in questions about how cells decide which proteins to make when, and how they change which proteins they make when they learn something from the environment and need to change what they're doing. And nowadays, in the 21st century, we collect some very large data sets that we use to measure this. So there are data sets based on sequencing the RNA in labs or by measuring all the proteins in cells at the same time. So these are measuring thousands of different things in many samples, let's say dozens of different samples, and these produce data sets that are gigabytes in size. And so it's quite hard work to dig into those data sets and get the simplest and most relevant answers. And that's why our work in biology relies on computing and mathematical modeling in order to be able to make sense of it at all. And actually, the data sets get so big that you can't just sort of attack it by hand. You can't just write a little script and have that work, because whatever you do has then to work again and again and again on lots of data sets. And it's ideally you want it to work not just on the data set you're working with today, but the data set that you collect next month, or that you want to collect next year, or you want to check against a data set that another scientist on the other side of the world collected. So you want to take your analysis and really move that and apply it to something else. So to do this, we have to work with people who really understand computer and softwares, as well as people who really understand statistics. And so that is why we are working with the Software Sustainability Institute. And it's been incredibly useful for us to work with them in lots of ways, including the fact that I am learning how to write better software, and I am then able to teach some of those ideas to people in my lab in the School of Biological Sciences and other colleagues. So the project where we're working most closely with SSI and EPCC in general is a project to write better software for analyzing protein synthesis in cells with these big data sets. And we had a collaboration with a group in America, a group of Premal Shah at Rutgers University, where we'd written one version of the software. We came to SSI, who do code reviews. So they took a look at our software and told us how it could be improved and what we could do to make it work better in the future. And then we used that code review to apply for funding to improve what we do. And when I say apply for funding, the thing is, writing software is hard. It takes a long time. And that means you need enough money to pay somebody to do it. And so we worked with SSI to write a grant for this from the BBSRC, that's the Biological Sciences Research Council in the UK. And then that was successful, which means we're now working very closely with Dr. Mike Jackson at EPCC to actually make these improvements to the software. And this is a collaboration with labs in America, both Premal Shah and Liana Leroux at Berkeley. Another thing that we've just done is we've published a preprint about what we've learned so that other people who are doing these complicated multi-step analyses can learn some of the things that we've learned about how to do what we do better. So it's a really amazing resource for people like me who rely on computation for our work. It's amazing that we have this world-class facility just down the road in the Base Center. I first heard about SSI because of a community teaching initiative called Software Carpentry. So it's a series of open source lessons and initiative to teach researchers to use software better in their research, to write better code, to learn better practices, and to learn to teach other people. And when I had done my postdoctoral training in the United States, I'd taken some software carpentry courses and found them really useful, and I really liked the community ethos. So when I came to Edinburgh, I got an email advertising a software carpentry workshop, and I emailed back to say, can I help with this? And that put me in touch with the SSI in general, and I learned a lot about it. And now I'm one of the people who, with SSI, helps to organize software carpentry workshops across the university, because SSI is the UK coordinator for this international organization, the Carpentries. And that's part of giving back, to say that some of us have been lucky enough to learn how to learn good practices in our computational research, and by working with carpentry and working with SSI, we can give back and help other people improve what they do. There are lots of ways that the SSI can help people who rely on computation for their research. So everybody from people who are at their very first steps of needing to learn how to code in order to attack the next data set, well, some of the training, some of the carpentries that SSI organizes is a good way into that. And some of the other work in the Bayes Center, like the organization of data science courses and the pages on that, can be really helpful. One place where SSI is particularly useful is if you're at a stage where you have written some code to do an analysis and you know that it needs to be better. It keeps breaking, or this code is working on your computer, but now it's running too slowly and you need to move it to a bigger computer and you're not sure how to do that. The SSI has some of the experts who can advise you on what to do, who can do some code reviews, where they'll actually look at your code and see what can be done to improve it. They can help you write grants and make other progress towards improving your code, and they can help connect you with other people at the university or elsewhere who might be able to help.